Hey friends, welcome back to Homeschool-ology. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. I mostly like to talk to you guys about secular homeschooling, but I also like to talk to you guys a little bit about motherhood, having a larger family, and traveling with a larger family. And today's video is part of that travel series. I typically try to talk about our travels on Fridays, so if you're here for homeschool content, that will be back Mondays and Wednesdays. But if you would like to hear about our travels, learning through traveling and all of those great things, Fridays is your day for that. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the start or the overview of our most recent trip, which was to New York City with all 4 of our kiddos. So come along if you're interested in hearing how it went. So if you're new here and you don't know, we are a family who loves to travel. So we do love getting out and about with our kiddos. We love to take them along with us. We feel like it provides lots of great, learning opportunities and just, life experiences that are just really great and valuable for our children. So when we can, we like to take them along with us. So my husband, a few years ago became a runner, and he's just started to get into the marathon world. So he's been running halves, and he did a full marathon back in last month. So what was that? April. And this month he was doing the half marathon in Brooklyn. And so he kind of signed up for it as a joke, not thinking he would get it, because if you don't know, you have to either meet certain requirements like qualifications to be in it, or you have to be a part of the group that runs it, or you can enter in the lottery system, and they only pull so many names from that. So we didn't think he would get it, but he did. And so he actually got the email that he was able to go when I was in the airport leaving New York, when I had gone back with my sister. So I do have a video on that. I'll put it here for you guys. So if you want to see what New York was like without kiddos, you can check that out. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about what New York was with kiddos. Today's video is kind of going to just be an overview of what we did, how the trip went, all of that. And then I will have separate videos on a couple of the experiences that we did to, go into more depth. So I might not go into a bunch of depth here on some of the topics. I might just mention them, but know that some of those videos are coming out. And if you hear me chatting about anything today that you want to know more about, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, and I'd be happy to either make another video or answer any questions you have about those. So that was why we were there. That's why we went on the trip, was because my husband was doing the marathon, but we decided to extend it a few extra days and take the kiddos along and do some things in New York. We have taken them once before. I have a video here. We did a whole up the East Coast trip with them. My husband's family's from Philadelphia, so we stopped there, and then we went into the city for a few days and went back to Philadelphia. And so they had been at least one time before, not at least. They had been one time before, but my littlest was still pretty little. I had no memory of it. My 3-year-old didn't really remember much either. He remembered a little things. Well, he was 3 at the time. He's 5 now. And so, but my older girls remembered some things, and there were some things that they wanted to do. And so, but this time, if you don't know, or if you haven't caught on yet, I am a bit of a planner. I do like to have a plan going into it, kind of things that I know we want to do. I really don't like being somewhere and feeling like I'm wasting my time trying to decide what to do. But a couple of trips recently, I've kind of been a little bit, I've had things in mind that we want to do, but I've also allowed some space for spontaneity, and honestly, it's really great. So this time I knew we had a couple of things on the calendar that we definitely wanted to do, but I kind of left the rest of it open to, what we saw when we were there, or what we had in mind. So we flew in on a Thursday. We actually had to drive over to the airport and stay the night before, because our flight was at 6 a.m. And if you are homeschoolers, you know that is really early to be getting up. And so we decided to stay in a hotel close to the airport so that we didn't have to wake up crazy early. We still had to wake up at 4:30 but we made it perfect timing, able to get a snack before the plane loaded, and it was great. That was the first time my younger two had flown, and so they really did enjoy it. We all enjoyed it. I have videos. I'm sure I'll put them in here. And then we got there, because our flight was so early in the morning, we got there at it was 8:15 when we arrived. So we had plenty of time. We had a whole day ahead of us to go and explore. So we knew we had to go over to Brooklyn to pick up my husband's things that he needs for the race, like his number and shirt and all that stuff. So we decided, we had never taken the kids over to Brooklyn, then we decided we would take, some time and just go explore over there. There was so much to do along the water. You could take boat rides, there was a beautiful just walkway along the whole river. We rode a carousel that was built in 1920 or something. I have video, it's in the video of how old it was. And it was just really neat. We got ice cream, and just kind of explored. And then we went and got lunch, and we got pizza in Brooklyn because we wanted to try Brooklyn pizza, and it was really good. We ate in a park there, but we just really enjoyed it. So we had dropped off our luggage at the hotel. So we went and explored Brooklyn, picked up his stuff, had lunch, and then by the time we were done with all of that, it was time for us to, the room was ready. So we went back and we rested for a little bit because it had already been a very long day for my kiddos. So the next day was Friday, and I knew that the time when we went before, we only had about a half day at the Natural History Museum, and my oldest daughter, all of us, but especially my oldest daughter, we just love museums. And if you've never been to the Natural History Museum in New York City, it is the museum of all museums. It is ginormous. There are so many floors, so many levels, so many exhibits, so much to see, so much to do. And then they have cycling exhibits. So when we had gone before, we'd really only got to see those cycled exhibits. We didn't have time to really spend in the regular part of the museum. And so we already knew long before we booked this trip that was something that we were going to do. So we decided to dedicate the majority of that day to the museum. And y'all, we've spent a half day there, and we have spent a whole day there, and we still haven't even come close to seeing everything that is there. Because both times we saw the touring exhibits or the cycled exhibits, so that takes up a lot of time. This time we were able to get to a little bit more of the regular standard exhibits, but we still didn't see it all, y'all. We still didn't see it all. I will share all about that in the video that's coming up on that in a couple of Fridays. The next few Fridays is just going to be a bunch of more detailed videos. So we did the History Museum, and we went to Carmine's. If you've never eaten at Carmine's in New York City, it's 1980 something is when it opened. They have a couple of branches, but the person who opened it, he wanted to have the Italian wedding experience for anybody who wanted to join in, and where they just serve everything family style. So it actually made it semi-budget friendly for us because a plate is maybe $25 or $30, but it will feed everybody. So we ordered 2 plates and an appetizer, and it fed us for 2 meals. So that was nice. That was a good way for us to save a little bit, because food, y'all, even Chick-fil-A was, what my order here in Florida is about $48 for Chick-fil-A. In New York City, it was almost $70 for the exact same thing that we always get in Florida. So it just being in the city is a premium. So that was nice. We had that lunch, and then I really wanted to take my daughters to see a Broadway play. I wanted to take the whole family, but they're not cheap, y'all. Not cheap at all. There's not a lot of ways to save very much on them. And I didn't realize, but a lot of the theaters have age limits. So my youngest daughter, there was only one play that she was able to go to at all. I think it was Aladdin, not even Lion King. I think she was too young for the Lion King. So, and then my son was 5, and there were very limited options to what he wanted to go to or what he could get into. And my daughters really wanted to see Wicked, and he wasn't even old enough to go see that. So my husband wasn't like, he appreciates theater, and but he wasn't like gung-ho about going. And so I decided to just make it a girls' night with me and my 2 older girls and go to see Wicked with them. And y'all, it was so good. It was so good. I have now seen only 3 plays on Broadway, but I saw Les Mis many years ago. I saw Moulin Rouge with my sister and our friend in January. Tops. If you, obviously nowhere near kid friendly, but literally the best show I've ever seen ever, Broadway or not. And so that was amazing. And then Wicked was absolutely fantastic. I had never actually like seen the whole thing before. I'd never seen like any videos or any other play version of it. So I knew all the songs and I knew the basic storyline, but I hadn't actually seen the whole story before, and I absolutely loved it. My oldest daughter absolutely loved it. She's itching to go to another one. My middle daughter, it was really late at night. We were gonna go see it on Saturday, but it just didn't work out. It was better for us to go Friday night, and it didn't start till 8 o'clock. And so if you don't know, like, plays are not short. And this one was really long. Like I think it started at 8, and I think it wasn't over until like 10:30. And so we had gotten up during intermission to go to the bathroom, and then when we went back to our seats, my middle daughter was like, why are we sitting back here again? Isn't it over? And I was like, no, honey, that's only halfway. And she was not thrilled about that. So she did enjoy it, but she definitely struggled with it being long and late at night, and but we still had a really great time. It was a little nerve-wracking to be walking through the city at 11 o'clock at night with just me and my 2 girls, but we stuck to some main streets, and it wasn't that far that we had to go, and so it was good. We had a great time at that, and that was super fun. And then Saturday, of course, was my husband's race. We did not go to the race because he had to be there at like 5 in the morning or something, and the race was over by 9, and it would have meant me waking my kids up much earlier than they wake up and getting on the subway by myself to go out to Brooklyn and fight the crowds there and have 4 kids in a crowd, which just wasn't an ideal situation. So we supported him by sending him messages and telling him he was doing a great job and all of that, and of course celebrated with him when he was done, when he got back. So because he was done and back by like 11, we ate our leftovers in the hotel for lunch, and then we set out to explore again. And so this was the day where I didn't really have anything planned. This was kind of our spontaneous day. So I knew that there was a Titanic exhibit in New York City, but because I had seen it or heard about it when I was in New York in January, but it like was supposed to end in February. And so I was like, oh man, my daughter would have loved that. If you don't know, we did a whole Titanic unit. She really loves the Titanic. I'll link that unit here for you guys. And so I was like, oh, she would have loved that. That would have been so great. Well, when I got home, I saw that they extended it, but they had extended it until the weekend before our trip was. And I was like, man, what a bummer. We are really missing out on this thing. When we were in New York, it came across my feed and it was still there and still open. And I was like, this is fantastic. So we went and checked that out. It was really fascinating, really good. Wasn't the best exhibit I've ever seen. So while we did enjoy it, especially my oldest daughter, she really enjoyed it. It was really great. The quality wasn't exactly what I was hoping for the cost that it was. But it was a really neat experience, and I will have a whole video on that coming up. But we had really fun doing that. But that day, Saturday, my husband ran, and he said about the last 30 minutes of his run, it started raining, and that whole day it rained. So it wasn't like, when Floridians think of rain, we think of like the skies have opened up and the entire lake of water is gonna fall on your head. In New York, I don't feel like it rains that way. A lot of other parts of the country, it doesn't rain that way. It's just more like everything is wet and there's water falling from the sky, but it's not like torrential downpour. Like in Florida, if you go outside, there's no umbrella, no raincoat, no nothing is going to keep you dry. We took only raincoats because we went on an airplane, so I didn't really have a lot of space to pack umbrellas and stuff. So we took only raincoats, and the raincoats kept us mostly dry. But that was really fun. We went back to the hotel, rested up again for a little bit because it is a lot of walking, and we had been getting up earlier than usual, and so we rested a little bit, and we had dinner plans with a friend out in Tribeca, and we went. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but I'll put it somewhere here for you guys. And it was excellent. So my husband is vegan and I am mostly vegetarian, and my kiddos are pretty picky. So it is really hard to find places that all of us can eat at and be happy. Like really hard, guys, because my kids are picky. They don't like things, you know, a lot of things. They don't like a lot of things. And then I have, you know, it's easier for me. I'm pretty easy. I just don't eat a lot of meat, so it's nice that there's a vegetable option around. I do eat meat, like I eat chicken and I eat fish and I eat things like that, but it's sometimes like I'm not gonna be able to find something at a burger joint. That's not gonna work well for me. And then my husband eats no meat at all and is completely dairy free. He's plant-based, and so he, you know, but he does pretty good about finding some kind of vegetable that he can eat. So you know, us being adults, we make it work, but the kids add a whole new layer. And this place literally had something for every single one of us. My kids all loved what they got. Every single one of them. They ordered more. What I had was fantastic. My husband really enjoyed his vegan option that was actually on the menu as a vegan option, and it was just really great. We had a really great time catching up with the friends, and then we moved on, or we went home and we went to bed because it had already been a long day. Sunday, we got up, no major plans really to think of or to speak of. We went and had bagels in Bryant Park. The bagel place, gosh, what was it called? I'm really terrible with remembering names. I should have written all this down, but I will look it up. I'll Google it and put it here for you guys. Literally of the best bagels, and honestly our cheapest meal while we were there, and satisfied. Like it was cheap and we were completely full. Like it was cheaper than Chick-fil-A, guys. But it was so good. We all loved it so much. We went back for breakfast on Monday and ate in Bryant Park. Bryant Park is outside of the public library. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. The very first day we were there, Thursday, we did do the public library after we had gone back, checked into the hotel, and rested a little bit. That was really neat. I wasn't expecting all of that. Like they have exhibits. I was expecting like a library. I thought we were going to go to the library. And you actually can't get into that part. Like that part that you see, the actual library part of Ghostbusters, you can only do that through a tour, and we didn't know that, and so we didn't, by the time we had gone, the tour was over, and we didn't actually make it back to see it in time, like, because there's only specific times. So we actually missed that part, which I was kind of sad about, because my son is, he's only 5, but he loves Ghostbusters, and he was really excited to see that. We didn't get to see that. So that was a little disappointing, but they had like tons of exhibits, not tons, I guess, not tons, but a lot of exhibits, and one really fascinating exhibit. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on this, so I'm not going to go into a ton of it, but y'all, there were books, like actual books from like the 1400s. They're Winnie the Pooh, like the real Winnie the Pooh, like the Winnie the Pooh and all of his friends, Eeyore, Kanga, all of them, from that the books are written about. Like his child's actual toys were there. That was like the coolest thing to me. My kids thought it was cool, but I was totally geeking out on it. There was a science book from like 1467 or something that I just thought was super fascinating, and so I could go on and on and on, and I will in another video, but to keep this one shorter, because I'm already way up there, it was just, y'all, it was so cool and free. Completely free. It is a public library. It's free to go in. There is a donation box if you feel like you need to donate, but it was so cool, guys. So cool. The architecture of that building, that was one of my favorite things. I can't believe I forgot to talk about it because it was one of my favorite things that we did. But anyways, we're back on Sunday. We went and had those bagels.
Then we did a little bit of shopping. We, of course, hit American Girl. If you don't know, we are big fans of American Girl around here. I had them growing up as a child, and my daughters love them very much as well, too. So, of course, we couldn't miss hitting the American Girl doll store. We had a great time at the store. My kiddos love all of them, including my little guy. I wish they made more things for my little guy, but we had a lot of fun. We played Pac-Man, which is my oldest daughter's favorite game. We also hit the Harry Potter store that is in New York City, and then we headed over to Central Park for some time out in the park. We'd been before, but only to like the very small corner of the park. They didn't really get to see like the actual park, and I had never been to the area that has like the fountain and everything in it. So we definitely made sure we got to see that, and that building that is leading up over to that fountain is just absolutely stunning. I have a video here for you guys in a minute. All these is just more pictures of us at the park that day. We saw turtles in the river, lake, whatever it is. But this is that building that I was talking about that is just so beautiful. There's so much tile and beautiful paintings. We saw this gorgeous bush, and so we took an opportunity to take some family photos in front of that, and it was just a really fun time.
We took the subway out to go see the Ghostbusters firehouse. It is an actual functioning firehouse, but they do have some memorabilia and a sign hanging out. I have pictures I'll be putting here for you guys. That was really cool. My son really enjoyed that. And then we decided to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. That is something my mom loves doing, and she was like, you have to go. She's been telling me all 3 times that we've gone, and so I was like, this time I really have to go. It was fun. It was great. We had a good time. However, it was very people-y. And while we do love to travel and we do Disney, which has lots of people, and I'm used to lots of people, I don't necessarily love places with a lot of people. And this was like very tight quarters because there's like vendors all along, so there's not a lot of space. And there's people going up and people coming back, and it was very tight and very claustrophobic feeling and very people-y. So, but it was a neat experience. I'm glad we did it. I can say I've done it. I don't need to do it again. It was very cool though. So we did that, and then we just kind of called it an early night on Sunday. I think we had dinner in Soho, which was an excellent restaurant. Again, very expensive, but you know, everything in New York is. So, but we had a good time doing that. And then we had walked the bridge, we went home. I think that's all we did on Sunday. Just kind of spent a lot of family time in the room too, just, you know, being all together. If you don't know anything about staying in hotels I should have taken pictures and I totally forgot, but if you don't know anything about staying in hotels in New York City, their hotel rooms are like their apartments. Small, very, very, very small. Not a lot of space for things, but it can be done, especially because you're going out and you're exploring the city, so you don't really necessarily need more than just a place to lay your head at night. So, but we did spend some time in there just together. We had gotten different places for dinner and had dinner, and it just was a good day. So Monday we woke up, we had bagels again in Bryant Park, and we went over, because the original public library building is now like basically just a museum, they do have like across the street like a separate library that's like their real library, like the actual library where you can go check out books and has all the things. So we went and checked that out for a little while. They had a rooftop terrace that we went and kind of got to see the city from a little higher up. All of that was free, which was great. We could have spent a long time there if we hadn't wanted to and had the time to spend there. And then we headed back to the hotel and got our things and went over to the airport. I took us to the wrong airport. I don't know how that happened. In my brain, I had booked both of in and out of the same airport, and in reality, I had not. So luckily, we had left early enough that we were able to get over to the other airport and get there in plenty of time. We even had plenty of time to eat lunch before we got on the plane and headed back. And then we did have to drive back home, but we made it in about like 10 o'clock at night and still had time to, we didn't have time, but we still were able to unload the car and get everybody to bed and all of that. So it was a really great trip. We had so much fun. We were ready to go back as soon as we got home. The kids really enjoyed it. We still have a few things on our list that we want to do again. My husband's already considering signing up for another race up there so that we can have an excuse to go again. And it just was a really great time. We really, really enjoyed ourselves. And yeah, so I vote take your kids to the city. It is not as bad as everybody makes it out. There's so much to do, so much to see. We just had a great time and it was totally worth it. So I hope you found any of this enjoyable or entertaining or helpful. If you have any questions, like I said before, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. I do have more videos coming out that goes into more detail on the different things that we did. And while you're down there making comments, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell and give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys like this content and lets YouTube know that you guys are interested in it as well. I hope you would follow us over on Instagram at Homeschool-ology, and I hope you will come back and chat with me again real soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.